Are you new to Photoshop and don't know where to start? In this tutorial, I'll not only explain the tools, but we'll actually design a complete Instagram post together. Along the way, you'll learn some beginner-friendly basics plus a few advanced tricks that will make your design look professional. Let's get started. When you open Photoshop, you'll see the home screen that looks like this. At the bottom, you'll find the recent panel, which shows all the files you've worked on. If you've just installed or launched Photoshop for the first time, this panel will be empty. But once you start working on projects, your recent files will appear here for quick access. You can create a new document, or open an existing file. For now, let's create a new document. This will open the new document window. At the very top, you can give your project a name. For example, our first design. Over here you can see width and height. This is the size of your canvas. For now, let's keep an Instagram post size which is 1080 by 1080 pixels. Over here you get different options. If you're making something for print, you usually enter size in centimeters or inches. If it's for digital, like social media, you use pixels. So, for now let's stick to pixels. This controls the quality. For digital work, 72 pixels per inch is fine. For printing, always use 300 pixels per inch for sharp results. For now let's stick to 72 pixels. Now set the color mode of your document. RGB is for digital designs, while CMYK is for print. Beginners can stick with RGB for now. In the background contents, you can start with a white background, a solid color, black, or even transparent if you want to add your own background later. For now let's keep it transparent. Once you're done adjusting these, just click Create. And Photoshop will open your new blank canvas, ready for design. Alright, so this is the Photoshop workspace. I know it might look a little complicated at first, but trust me, it's not as scary as it seems. Right here in the middle, you have your canvas. This is where all the magic happens. Think of it like your blank sheet of paper. On the left side, you'll see the toolbar. These are all the tools you'll be using to create and edit, like the brush, text tool, and selection tools. Don't worry, we'll go through the most important ones step by step. Over here on the right side, you've got panels, like layers, channels, and paths. Layers especially are super important, because they let you edit different parts of your project separately. Above you've got panels, like Align and Distribute panel, and move a little bit above you will panels like Properties, Adjustment, and Libraries. And at the top, you have the menu bar. This gives you access to things like filters, image adjustments, and extra options for each tool. It might look busy at first, but once you get used to it, you'll see it's actually simple and really powerful. If your Photoshop workspace looks different from mine, don't worry. You can fix it by going up to the top menu, clicking on Window, and then go to Workspace and click on Essential Default. This way, you can reset it to match mine. In the toolbar, you'll notice some tools have a little arrow at the bottom right corner. That means there are more tools hidden inside. For example, if I right-click on the Move tool, you'll see extra related tools. Let's check another one, the Eraser tool. If I right-click here, more eraser options pop up. So whenever you see that little arrow, just right-click to explore more tools. Now in order to understand Layer panel, I've just drawn a circle and then a square, and if you look over at the Layers panel, you'll see Photoshop has created a new layer for each shape. This is how the Layers panel works. Every time you add something new, like a shape, text, or image, Photoshop puts it on its own layer. That way, you can move or edit each one separately. Now, if I want to make sure I don't accidentally move or edit a shape, I can lock its layer. Just select the layer and click the lock icon at the top. You'll notice the layer shows a little lock symbol, meaning it's protected. And if you want to unlock it, just simply click on the lock icon and it will unlock the layer. Now, if you want to change the colors of the shape, go to Toolbar section, click on Shape Layer. At the top you will see Fill option, you can change the color from there. Or you can also change the color from the Appearance panel. If it's not visible to you, go to Windows and click on Properties. Now let's start learning Photoshop by doing something practical. We'll create an Instagram post design, something like this. So first, let's import the images we'll be using. To import images into Photoshop, go to the top menu and click on File and then click on Place Embedded. From here, you can choose the images you want to use. We'll import them one by one. For now, let's start with this watch image. Now we need to remove the background from this image. For that, we'll use the Quick Selection tool. This tool lets you select areas of the image by simply clicking and dragging, and Photoshop automatically detects the edges for you. Now we need to select the subject. You can do it manually or let Photoshop do it automatically. Let's start with the manual method. Click and drag over the subject, and Photoshop will start creating a selection around it. If it selects extra areas you don't want, click on this button. This will help you remove the unwanted area. The Add to Selection button lets you keep adding areas to your selection until the whole subject is covered. You can also hold down the Alt key, or Option on Mac, and paint over those parts to remove them. Just like this. You can also increase the size of the selection tool by clicking here. Now hold the handle and drag it to the right hand side. I think this is better. Make sure the image layer is selected before using the selection tool to remove the background. Now let's select the watch. Take your time and carefully trace the subject until it's fully selected. Now that we've manually selected the image, let's look at the other method. Go to the top bar and click Select Subject. Or go to Select in the menu and choose Subject. Photoshop will automatically select the subject for you. Sometimes it also grabs extra areas we don't want in that case. Just hold Alt and remove those parts. Perfect. Now go to Select and Mask. When you click on it, a new window will open. In the new window, enable Smart Radius and increase the radius. This helps Photoshop better detect edges, like hair or soft details. Let's also increase the contrast a little bit. Also, check the Decontaminate Colors option. It removes color fringes from the background for cleaner selections. Now hit OK. You successfully removed the background from the image. If you want to learn more about removing backgrounds, make sure to check out the video linked above. To remove the layer mask, we will duplicate the layer by pressing Ctrl+J on Windows or Command+J on Mac. Now to merge the layers, select both the layers and press Ctrl+E. Now let's double-click the layer and change the name of the layer to Smartwatch. Alright, now remove this image. At bottom, click on the bin icon, remove layer. Alright, let's add a background. Go over to the toolbar, pick the shape tool, then hold down Shift and drag so the shape nicely covers the entire canvas. Next, drag the background layer below the smartwatch layer, so the watch stays on top. Now, double-click on the layer name and rename it to background. After that, select the smartwatch layer and scale it down just a little. Perfect. Now, let's align the smartwatch to the center. Next, let's add the logo at the top. Go to File, click on Place Embedded, and choose the logo file. Once the logo is in, hold Shift to scale it down a little, and place it nicely at the top center of the canvas. And by the way, if you're looking for high-quality images like this smartwatch, you can easily download them for free from Pexels.com. It's a great resource with tons of stock photos you can use in your projects. Also, for the Watch Ultra 2 logo that I used in this design, you can simply go to Google, type the name, switch to the Images tab, and download the logo directly from there. To recreate the reference design, the first step is to duplicate the smartwatch layer and position it exactly as it appears in the reference image. Next, select the smartwatch layer, hold down Alt, and drag it to duplicate. Place the duplicate on the right-hand side, just like that. Now, scale down the duplicated smartwatch just a little to match the reference design. Now, repeat the same process for the left-hand side. Duplicate the smartwatch layer and position it just like on the right. As you can see, the left-hand side smartwatch is currently above the main centered image. To place it behind, just drag its layer below the main smartwatch layer. And just like that, it already looks much better. Now, let's quickly rename the layers to keep everything organized. Next, let's align all the smartwatches to the center. To do that, first group these 3 layers so they move together as a single layer. Select all 3 layers, scale them down a little, and then drag them to the group icon at the bottom to combine them. Perfect. Now, let's quickly rename the group layer to Smartwatch. Now, we'll align the group. Go to the Align panel at the top. If you don't see it, just go to Windows and click on Align to open it. Now, let's make our background look like the reference image. First, unlock the background layer. Then, double-click it to open the blending options. This panel lets you adjust things like opacity, shadows, and highlights to make your layer look just right. Before we make any changes, let me show you another way to open the blending options. At the bottom, click on the layer style icon and then select blending options. This will take you to the same panel. On the left-hand side, you'll see options like bevel and emboss, inner glow, satin, and color overlay. For our design, we'll use gradient overlay, which applies a smooth transition between colors on your layer, giving the background more depth and a polished look. Now, check the gradient overlay box, and on the right-hand side, you'll see different options. To change the gradient colors, double-click on the gradient bar. Here, you'll see the color stops. Just click on a stop to change its color. For our design, we'll keep the gradient color set to a dark gray shade. Now, on the right-hand side, let's make it a bit darker than the left-hand side color stop to add some depth. Let me just make the left-hand side color stop a little lighter. That looks good now. From here, you can change the opacity of the gradient overlay, but for our design, we'll keep it at 100%. At the bottom, you'll see various gradient styles like linear, radial, angle, reflected, and diamond. These let you control the direction and shape of the gradient on your layer. For our design, we'll use radial. Now, press OK, and our gradient background is ready. Next, let's add shadows underneath the watches to make them look like they're resting on the floor. First, create a new layer by clicking the plus icon and name it Shadow. Select the shadow layer, then go to the toolbar and pick the brush tool. At the top, click on the brush preset picker and increase the brush size. Set the foreground color to black. Click once and then drag to place the shadow near the watch. If the shadow appears above the watch, simply drag the layer below the watch layers. Perfect. Now, duplicate this shadow layer and repeat the process for all the watches. This looks amazing. Now, let's group the shadow layers and name the group Shadow. Next, let's add text. Go to the toolbar and select the Type tool, then click on the canvas to place your text. You can change the font either from the top menu or the character panel on the right-hand side. For our design, let's use Montserrat Bold. At the bottom, you can adjust the font size, and you can also set the tracking if needed. Once done, align the text to the center. Now, add all the remaining text layers, and adjust both the text and smartwatch layers so everything looks nicely arranged and balanced. Alright, now if you want to change only one word's color, first select the text tool and highlight the word. Let's highlight Ultra. Press Ctrl+ to zoom in so it's easier to see. Then, click on the Fill Color box, and from there, use the eyedropper tool to pick the exact orange color from the logo. And that's it. Now, Ultra perfectly matches the logo's orange. Alright, now to add a bit more texture and character, we'll add noise to our background to give it a nice polished look. Noise simply adds tiny random dots or grain, which makes flat areas look more natural and less plain. Go to the top menu, click on Filter tab, then go to Noise section Noise and click on Add Noise. Once you click, Photoshop will ask to convert to a smart object. A smart object means your effect stays editable, so you can always go back and change it later. Now a new panel will pop up. Here you can increase or decrease the amount of noise. For our design, let's keep it around 6. Hit OK and that's it. Noise is added nicely to our background, giving it a subtle professional touch. Now we'll add a glow effect to the word Apple. First, duplicate the text layer. Now, click the eye icon next to this layer to hide its visibility, so you can clearly see the selected layer. And now erase all the other words except Apple. Place it neatly right above the original Apple word. Now double-click on the Apple text layer to open the blending options. From here, go to Outer Glow. Outer Glow simply adds a soft glowing effect around your text, making it stand out. Change the color to white. Set the opacity to 71%, and increase the glow size to 27. Then, change the blend mode to screen. Let me just increase the size a little more for a smoother glow. Alright, now hit OK, and the glow is beautifully added to our word Apple. And there you go, our design is complete. You just learned some really cool techniques that will help you create professional looking designs with ease. Alright, now if you want to save the file you need to go to the File tab, then click on Save As. Here you can choose to save it on your computer or directly to the Adobe Cloud, so you can access it anywhere. Alright, for now let's save it in the cloud. Over here you can name your file. I'll just write our first design. You can give it any name you like. Now just click on Save. And that's it. Your design is now saved safely in the cloud. Now if you want to save it on your computer, go to File, click on Save As. And this time select on your computer. And that's it. This is how you can easily save the file locally. Now, we will learn how to save a web-ready image like JPEG or PNG. To save an image version, go to File, Export and click on Save for Web, Legacy. A new window will open where you can adjust the format, quality, and size. On the right-hand side, you'll see different format options like GIF, JPEG, and PNG. You can select whichever you want, but for now, let's export it as a JPEG. Now click on Save, and your image will be saved as a JPEG. In the next episode, I'll be sharing more beginner-friendly Photoshop techniques to level up your designs. If you'd like to see that, drop a comment below and let me know.